welcome back to the Safe Farm Analyst Zone. I gotta say, playing Phoenix and showing an LPL team beating G2. What is this, 2019 production? What are you trying to put us through here? That's just stress-inducing. And there is more to be decided. We do have a tiebreaker game here in Group A as we jump into that. G2 versus Suning for the rematch. Now, whoever wins this game will secure first seed and a massive advantage going into the knockout stage. That does, unfortunately, also mean that Machi and TL are not advancing. To remind you, because of that, G2 needed to win over Suning to give TL a chance at the tiebreaker.
Yes. That is just the G2 experience. Unfortunately, in the second game, there were a lot of question marks around like some of the draft decisions. I mean, we had question marks about the Suning draft as well, but in the same time, like it was a pretty chaotic game, and I felt like there was so many execution errors from G2 that, yeah, they weren't able to take that big win.
What can we call out from the draft then specifically from both sides maybe, because we did see some different looks?
I felt like, you know, they were trying some different cooking styles and they just straight up went for too much spice in this soup because the Kalista, I don't understand why they went for the Kalista and went Senna support because there's no gain. Like, Kalista's not good against Ezreal later on in the game. It's not good against Syndra either. You're giving just all the enemy champions more value. Like, if you're going to put Senna support, you need to bring something to the table that actually makes sense.
And then also we talked about the top lane matchup, Wonder versus Bin. It ended up being Renekton versus Camille. And LPL top laners do love Camille and play a dirty Camille sometimes. And here he was just given every opportunity to rank up.
I kind of love this approach from Bin because this was kind of recognizing his strengths and putting them against Wunder. And that's such a Wunder move. Because usually Wunder is like, oh, this guy is only good in the early game, I'm going to outscale him and do better. This time around, he was like, I'm going to pick Camille, I'm going to outlane him because that's my specialty. And then my champion is just going to be more useful.
He also went for the Ignite in lane, and obviously there were a lot of question marks around it. But I think it was actually very valuable in terms of assisting him in the 1v1. He was taking some fantastic trades, and it meant the Wonder had to be so much more careful as the lane went on because of that Ignite. So I felt like that it was clearly something he was experienced in and took advantage of, and Bin did a great job in the 1v1 on the top side.
And what we also saw was in the jungle trying to kind of whittle down the champion pool of the choices for SOFM. In the end, he was on Jarvan, and it was fine.
Yeah.
Face versus Jarvan.
Really can't. Yeah, exactly.
Question mark pinged it.
Yeah.
But we saw it there. He went for the chase bot lane, and because of the phase rush, he got the kill. This man really comes up with the craziest builds on junglers.
I'm still not sold.
But
I'm still not sold on it. But you know what? You know what? If it works for SOFM, then it works for SOFM. So I'm not going to challenge the mad genius. As I mentioned, I think that the draft was like, it was very weird. In particular, like the Kalista Senna bot lane, if you're going to lock in Senna, fine. Do the Senna into like something like a Nautilus that you can then pair into giving you a pretty strong 2 versus 2 lane. But by going for Kalista, like Kalista just doesn't make sense into the draft that you're playing against. It's so easy to kite, it's so easy to manage, and I feel like that there was just too much going on in G2's draft, and they got rightly punished for it.
It does disappoint me a little bit just from the perspective of, you know, a G2 that we see when they've been under pressure. Even today in that first game, they really turned it on against Machi. They really turned it on. Now there's another game to play if you don't win this one, and all of a sudden we see this odd draft coming out, really lackluster play, giving up kills left, right, and center in this game to let it snowball out of control. And I don't want to hear that whole, oh, it was a funny game or it was, you know, an int game or whatever. I don't think you can do that at a World Championship. This is for a first seed. This is to avoid Damwon. This is to avoid top esports. So it just disappoints me a little bit. On the other hand, they do have another chance. What is the focus going to be from G2 Yamato?
I just feel like they need to unite behind like something within the game. Because you have a Renekton top, Graves synergy doesn't exist. Graves Echo, same thing, doesn't exist. They want to accomplish 2 different things. Graves wants Echo to play for him, and Echo wants Graves to play for him. It doesn't really work that way. I want them to just make a simple strategy, make sure that maybe you play on the 2v2 mid, maybe have the Volibear again, just go to what you know, unite behind the same thing, and then they can get to the parts where they actually are really strong, the mid to late game decision making, and that's what beat them the first time.